Today we take a look at oil and gas production. We also have some updates on the way. Stay tuned. Friendly reminder to all of you, thanks for starting to watch this video. And we have memberships enabled again. If you are interested in getting in tune with me on a member server, I am going to be spinning up a member server for all of my Patreon and membership rewards for my YouTube channel. And I'd love to be hanging out and playing with you guys in some sort of new mod pack. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure to click the links below or above, and I will be happy to see you in the future. Stay tuned. Welcome, friends, to a new episode of Feed the Beast Ultimate Reloaded. Hope you guys are having a great day. I'm having a really good day, and let's get started. So we have a lot to cover today, and we're going to be talking about gas and oil production, but I want to give you guys a few updates first. So we're going to give you a big aerial view and go, BAM! Whoa, look at that. The hives have been, at least what I'm going to call, I'm not going to call completed, but the layout is completed. That's where we're starting with. Will we need more? I don't know. We have expansion that way and expansion that way. We're okay. And as you can see, we can get some things going. I've got a path started, which is the path pretty much that goes in between. I just have not laid it all out. It was just more for getting my stuff and things going. As you can see, I've got it open to the inside. Yes, we have all of these things open. And what was really nice is it was pretty easy to lay out. It just took a lot of time. And as you can see, I have a lot of terraforming to do. So I have terraforming to bring everything at least up to this, which is the main level, in these other hives. But then we also need to bring in the two spaces above, so the path space and then the space where our alvearies are going to be as we move forward. So we have a lot to do, but at least the layouts here, you guys can get an idea of what the master plan is going to look like. How cool is that? And if you get a good aerial view, it looks really cool. Like, look at all of that. It's amazing. And if, for those of you that haven't really taken a look, it is a big hexagon as well. So that was all by design. But it's very cool. I'm excited. So this one right here is going to be for our emerald bees. And I'm super excited to get these going. I did some math and I realized that for all of these, there's, I believe it's 7 plus 7 is 14 plus 5. It's 19 hives. All have 12 alvearies in them, which is like 6,192 alveary blocks. It's a lot. Plus we have some extras here. So we have a lot of production going to get this squared away. And if we look, I've got enough impregnated casings, and we've got 2,500 alveary blocks as it is. I do have a lot to do, which is fine. It's okay, but it's coming along. There's a lot of progress has been made. The layout was hard. It was tough to try to get through this, but once I get into a rhythm, I just kind of banged it out. So yes, there's a lot to do. I still have all of the layers to put in. I have all the terraforming to do, but maybe we'll do that on a live stream or something where we can chat and discuss things and talk about plans, where we can just chill out and kind of just play some blocks, Minecraft style. Super cool. All right, what else do we have going on? We have, I replaced and made all of my machines that were in the spawn base. I've brought them here, and this is kind of the setup I have, which is very cool, I think. It turned out really nice. Now, I started with this one because the thermal expansion machines were really the easiest, but if we get underneath here, we can kind of see what's done. So I've got some things up from the bottom, and it just kind of goes over to here, which is nice. And I've got some Magnum crucibles here, which on the front side, I have some labels for what does what. So this is going to be destructible redstone or destabilized redstone. Yeah, I couldn't put destabilized redstone on there, so I just, you guys get the point. Energized glowstone and resonant ender for making all of our resonant things. And I left this block open so I could access these tanks if needed. Eventually, I think what I'm going to do is turn these into ender tanks and put them in our tank system down there, which will be really fun. But we've got a thermal expansion area. That's going to be our industrial foregoing section. We've got a Industrial Craft 2 section, which has a little bit of Tech Reborn because they both work on EU. And then this section over here is mostly EU as well, which is a Tech Reborn. So we've got Tech Reborn. I tried to put it in sections, which is kind of cool. And then check these out. These are cool. We can add, we'll talk about why I can't get that stuff, get access to it. But we've got these ME interfaces here, which is super amazing. I love the way it looks. And these are called cable facades or cable anchors. Can I even, there we go. So really what you need to do is make these cable anchors, and you can put them in a thing like this. And with whatever block you put here, yes, power is a problem. We'll talk about that in a minute. Whatever block you put here will be the facade that you want. So these are arcane stones. I made cable anchors and facades for the arcane stone. And then what we did is I ran my ME cables underneath. You guys can kind of see here what we've done. There we go. So it goes underneath, and I have the cable facade for laboratory blocks as well to make it look a little bit cleaner. Now, this is all going to be covered up, so most people won't see any of this stuff. So we'll take care of that. I just haven't gotten to that portion yet. But yeah, we've got everything. We've got an industrial blast furnace. We've got a matter fabricator, implosion compressor. And this was the tough one to do because, and I made a note here. So it has a step down from MFSU to MV transformer to MFE to LV transformer to a bat box because we had to really get this going. And this is all powered with redstone flux, which goes into an energy consumer, and underneath that one is a energy bridge to a HV energy producer. Now I tried MV and I tried EV. I think the HV charged this up the fastest. Now I could be wrong on that. I haven't played around with the other converters yet to know which one's the best. This is just, I got it working and it's working. So I was pretty happy about it. That goes into here, into an MV transformer, which then goes to an MFE, which then goes to an LV transformer, which then gets the low voltage stuff. And then we have it branch off to the other side here, which then goes to this stuff, which goes to another MV transformer and steps down again to get the implosion compressor. And the other one, not just the implosion compressor, but the, what is that? Can't remember. The industrial blast furnace, that's it. But yeah, because those work on the medium tier, and then I had to have the high tier as well coming straight out of the box. So out of the MFE, we go straight to the Charge-O-Mat and the Matter Fabricator, which are both work on the high or insane tier, which is pretty good. So I'm excited. And then yeah, each one of these I put in the pillars because then I can access my ME infrastructure down here at any point to just be able to do stuff. Now we will work on automation. I don't know how well it's going to work in our compacted mode, but as you can see, I have it all powered from the bottom. So we do have two sides available here to get all of our things, at least a good majority of it automated. So I'm not too worried, you know. It's pretty good. So we have pulverizer and all of the machines that we need, which is really nice. So we can probably get a lot of this stuff automated, at least when it comes down to breaking down any of our ore. Wow, really? What about here? Diamond ore or emerald ore, and breaking that down and pulverizing it so that we get more. I'm sure that I can get some ME interfaces here to be able to do that. So I'm pretty excited. But yeah, we have all the machines that we need. There's even probably some that I don't have yet that I have free blocks and space for in the event we need them. I have not done the industrial foregoing section yet, except for the Stoneworks factory, because I really don't know what I'm going to be putting here. If you guys have suggestions, please leave your comments in the comment section so that way I can take a look. Those all work on RF, which is kind of nice, so we don't have to convert anything. But yeah, it's working. We have things. It's nice, and it looks really good. What else do we have going on? Underneath, we have everything coming up from down below and kind of making it look nice and clean, even though it's going to get covered up and nobody's going to see it. But as you can see, we have a problem. Why do we have a problem? Well, let's take a look. This goes on and offline from time to time. And you know what? We'll get to that in a second. I do want to show you our database. We've been doing some trees, and we haven't got into flowers yet, but we've been doing more bees. So I'm getting more and more traits as we go through this process we just talked about more and more, which is really good. So right now, I'm not letting it run because we have power issues, and that's what we have to solve. Now, okay, there's a lot going on here. So let me make a small cut, and then we'll talk about everything that's happening. Okay, first things first. The boilers. I thought I had solved the boiler problem. Now, I upgraded every single dynamo, and in every single dynamo, I did put in fuel catalyzers and augments for the turbine, and then also this guy, the excitation field limiter, which is supposed to throttle and prevent RF loss, which I believe it does from this standpoint. The problem we had is when this is using ethanol from our tanks, this continues to produce steam. And if there's a place for steam to go, this will continue to use ethanol, even if there's no place for redstone flux to go. So if these aren't completely filled up, these steam dynamos with steam, and there is a place and they continuously keep using steam, it keeps using ethanol, which in turn keeps using trees, which then in turn keeps using biomass, and then eventually the farms stop, and then these all get used completely, which ethanol is also used for our bee genetic stuff, which is causing a problem. So what I found is even all three of our steam boilers were up and running. They weren't producing well enough. They would produce pretty well when they're running, but they would continue to produce once our entire setup was filled, and that's a big problem. And as you can see, we've got, here's where our output comes to all of our system, and you can see it's empty. Well, why is it empty? That I have not yet determined. However, we did get into oil and gas production, so I set up a setup similar to the ones over there for creating honey with our combs. So what we have is we have power. It's coming up, which seems to be empty, and it is supposed to be generating oily combs from the backside. Let's take a look. Oily combs go into each one of these centrifuges, which is cool, with upgrades, of course. And then what it does is it creates propolis, oily propolis. And whenever it creates an oily propolis, we have a retriever here that will retrieve the oily propolis and put it in the squeezer. And the squeezer will then create oil, putting it in this tank. Great. Very cool. We also are pulling in anything that is coming through here. So this should only retrieve or pull in oily propolis at all. Now, the other byproduct of these combs is honey. And as you can see, we have a full honey setup. And we have a full ender chest of honey. Where is all that honey going? Well, you guessed it. That's right. It's coming over here and it's running in this guy right here. It's full. Why? Is this not? Oh, there we go. That should work now. This should start gaining, I'm guessing. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So this should be working now. I must have stopped this. So are these actually using? Yes. So now you can see the ender chest is running. This had filled up with a bunch of propolis, oily propolis. So it clogged the system, and I had to go put those retrievers and those filters on there so that it would continue to do its thing. Is this actually on? It should be. Okay, good. It is. Great. And if I'm watching, it's not filling up. Is that because these are running here? No, this should be off. Yeah. Why is this not working? I'm confused. This isn't filling up. There's no place for it to go. We're going to have to solve that problem. I'm not exactly sure what's happening. but this should be outputting into the tank, which this was working at one point, but it's not anymore. So we'll have to solve that problem at some point. I'm not sure exactly why that's not draining in there. Is this actually full and it just doesn't show it? Maybe there's a block update that hasn't happened or something. No, it's at the right level. Okay. I'm not sure. It says it can't work because there's nowhere for the honey to go. Let's break you and then add it again. Maybe that'll fix it. If not, we'll come back to this later. Yeah, something's wrong. Not sure. You know what we can do for now? Since we don't really need honey, let's do this. We can solve the problem like this. Do we have a fluid duct? We do, actually. Let's just use a regular one. Don't think it's really required to have the bigger one. Okay, so this should be level. Yeah, now this can run again. We'll have to figure out what's going on with the ender tank. I'm not sure what the deal is. Pretty sure because there's, I don't know, whatever. But anyways, if we look at this system here, this is all empty. Ooh, this is actually, this is starting to go up now. Oh. Okay. Can we access our system? Oh, seems a little bit more stable at this point. Okay, well, let's talk about what's happening then. So really what we've done is this is our oil setup. Takes the oily combs, it breaks them down with centrifuges into this system, essentially creating oily propolis, and then we squeeze the oily propolis into making oil. Great, okay. Well, now we also need to make gas. And the next thing is we are pumping all of the oil from this guy. We're using Buildcraft pipes, and I got the best ones I could, which is with wood and diamond. And I found a use for all that beeswax we have. So check this out. So with beeswax, it makes sealant, which helps you make the fluid pipes from Buildcraft. So that's super nice. We have a use for that stuff now. I mean, we have 9,000 beeswax. I don't think we're ever going to run out, which is fine. So kind of crazy. But then what we're doing is we're putting that in a distiller. So the oil pumps into the distiller, which is a Buildcraft factory device. And essentially what we have going in the back is I created a combustion engine which fills with gas. So gas comes out of the top into these fluid pipes and then goes into the combustion engine, essentially creating a full loop. Now what I did was I removed one of these full pressure tanks or boilers, and I just used the water from that to keep the combustion engine from overheating, and that's great. Perfect. So when that creates gas, it goes into the ender tank, which then fills up this one. Very cool. And it's already filled it up. It took a day and it filled this whole thing up, which was awesome. Now what's really cool is that if you have 10 millibuckets of oil, then you have 3 millibuckets. So it's 30% difference, but you have a 30% increase in its efficiency when you use gas as a fuel rather than oil. You can use oil and gas, but I figured, you know what, let's distill it down and get the better product out of it, right? So, great. Now what? We have that. Also, there's another byproduct that this, when you click on, all right, oil. Here we go. So, if we look at uses of oil, oil will work in thermal generators, which is what these guys are right here. Now, if we distill it, we'll get gaseous fuel. So you can make oil, you can make fuel, or gaseous fuel, whatever you want to call it. It's gas or fuel, whatever you want to say. Now, oh, actually, it's 8 millibuckets to 16 millibuckets. Oh, I thought it was the other way around. Interesting. Oh, here it is. It makes also heavy oil, which can also be used in uses in a thermal generator. So we have oil, we have heavy gas or heavy oil, which I'm pumping into this guy using, again, another ender tank, which is great. So we have now 3 products that can be used in thermal generators for making fuel or power. So I've loaded up fuel into each one of these thermal generators using some signalum retrievers to keep them full all the time when it comes to gas. So they're filled with gas fuel, and I have them running off of this into these MFSUs, which we had over at the other locations. So I didn't even have to make them, I just moved them. I have them moving to these LESU controllers from Tech Reborn. Now these are unnecessary, I believe. I was trying to improve the output, and I'm probably using the wrong thing, but I left them there. Now what we do from those is we bring them into these HV consumers, into another energy bridge, and I bring it into a bunch of them to an RF producer, which has then, now before I got this all set up, these were empty. Everything was empty because we just could not keep up, and all of the steam was gone and the boilers were just all messed up, and I had to recreate all of that ethanol, and that was a pain. I've been working on this for days and days, and that's why you haven't seen a video for a while, is because I've been working through these problems. I know that I can work through them on camera, but it's not as easy for me. So I just want to get through some of the problems. Now we have different problems now, obviously, because obviously we're not keeping or holding RF in these energy cells. And these top ones haven't filled up yet, but that's because these bottom 2 aren't yet. And I'm expecting once that these get full, that these will finally fill up. I'm not exactly sure. Now, I believe it's because since this system is all tied together, these top 2 are also not free, but this is still filling up. And I think once this guy is obviously the next one in line, I don't know why this hasn't transferred down to this. I think it's just because there's a loop here. I'm not exactly sure. I have to fix the problem. So we have new power problems that we have to solve. Now, I think the reason is because I have these different energy banks, and I'm causing a lot of problems with having too many energy banks and too many of these resident flux ducts. I need to clean this all up. So we have, what's really nice is we now have oil production, which we can then use a distiller or multiple distillers, I might get more, for making gas. And then we can make not only gas, but making also the byproduct of heavy oil, which is in that one, which we then can pump into thermal generators to generate 40,000 RF per tick. Sorry about that. As I was saying before, we have oil and gas and heavy oil to run through thermal generators for power gen, which is great. So we've worked on phase 3 power. Now, is this the best setup? I don't think so. It has to be refined. This was a crude setup to just get working. It seems as though I have things online. They seem to be working. I have not determined how or why which ones are updating and not updating. As you can see, they're outgoing. Why is this one not filling up? I don't understand. So I think what we have to do in the next steps are going to be is to simplify the process. So I have to work on a few things. One, I have to remove all of these systems. They just didn't work, or I couldn't find an elegant way to solve the problem. So I think since we have the ability to move to phase 3 power now, we're just going to, because we have a lot of oil. We have a lot of oily combs. Oily combs are incoming 30 stacks a day we're getting roughly. So we have gas, oil, or heavy oil and oil production, I think is great. Now, that also requires us to perhaps get us into some higher level tech reborn situations, like, where is it? No. The Interdimensional Su. This thing is crazy. It requires a lot. Now, what it does is it allows you to transfer power from one place to another if you make 2 of these. Now, if you can see, it requires, you're going to need 2 of them, so this is doubled. 8 iridium alloy plates. Pretty crazy. 8 adjustable SUs, which are made with a Laptron crystal, which is not too bad. And these Lapteron crystals and another iridium plate. That's 8 per, so that's 32. They're quite expensive, but this might solve some of our problems for us. So we might have to get into those. And then there's an adjustable SU, which is obviously in this particular thing that's made, or interdimensional SU, which gives us the ability to move power from one place to another. This is getting into the tier 4 type of things with solar and maybe a fusion controller in our, yeah, there's a fusion controller and a coil. I believe you need 24 of these though to make one. to make one. So I don't know. We're getting in a different power, which is great. So I think the next steps for me are to clean this all up. I'm going to break all these down. We're going to see what we're left with, and we're going to try to simplify this power generation for us and see what we can do. I don't like it. It's not elegant. It doesn't look good. And we have the ability to make oil and gas and heavy oil, so fuel is not a problem for us. And we have ethanol, so we have multiple factors to continue our process. Is this the best way? I'm guessing not. And if you have ideas or expertise on some of these energy conversions, or whether or not I have these correct blocks here for controlling all of this, let me know. Really what I want to do is I'd like to see, I was trying to have multiple energy banks. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify this all down to go into one. So I'm going to solidify these 3 banks and those 3 banks and put it all in one and just run one pipe up instead of having 2 sides with multiple banks. I think I can do it the way I want, but I think in order for us to understand exactly how this process works, we have to make it simple, and then we can modify it and make it more complex and grow it as we do that. These are growing, and there's plenty here, so I believe our ME system is probably fine. We've reached a point where it seems to be at least stable. However, if I run a machine, I'm guessing that this is going to stop. Now, what's interesting is every single one of these outputs, which are down below, I've turned off. So they're not running anything. All of these machines are off. I believe these are off. Are these off? No, because they're running on these power. Oh, actually, it's off because it ran out of power. But this one's still up and running because it has power. Those I made independent. So, but the rest of this process is not. These all run on these, and if they're running, this is draining. So we're definitely using more power. We're consuming more power than we can produce at this point. So we definitely have to solve some of those problems. But I think, like I said, the first steps are going to be removing all of this stuff and trying to get an idea of how we want to lay this out. Now, the other piece of the equation is I don't understand exactly, do we need to have an array of thermal generators that go to one MFSU and then take that MFSU off to do the conversion? Maybe we leave everything in MFSU or in EU and we just do the conversions for, instead of RF, we do the conversion from EU over to RF for that stuff up there and then run the EU pipes instead. We have options, so let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear your ideas about our process and how we're going through things. But we definitely need to make some changes and get some improvement, which is okay. It's all good. We're on our way. So I'll make some more progress and bring you guys back when I'm done, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Again, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we do have memberships online again. Please don't hesitate to take a look at them and join. I'd really love to get, I'm shooting for the beginning of the year. So in the next month or so, I want to get the ideas of what type of modded server we're going to actually turn up for our member server, and then I'm gonna work through December to try to get that up and running for everybody, so that way it's available in January. If we get a few members right away that are looking for those rewards straight away, we'll get it going. I'll escalate that, and we'll get that going and started sooner. So take a look at those, click the join button, or take a look at my Patreon. I would love to have you guys join. Also, make sure to check out my Discord, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care and be well.